Hello, everyone. This is 𝗵𝗶𝗴𝗵𝗄, CMO at Scitara, kicking off 2026 with a new video for you today. I'm going to use this video to summarize an interview that I did with one of our large pharmaceutical customers. So this is a top 10 pharmaceutical firm. Unfortunately, I can't mention their name, but they have adopted Scitara DLX across all their global sites, more than 20 sites, and they're in the process of deploying it across those sites. And one of the things I did recently, the end of 2025, I sat down with some of the key people at that account who were part of the decision to adopt Scitara DLX. And I really wanted to understand why. Why did they choose us? Because I think there's a really quite a few insights from this interview that I did that could be beneficial to other customers that are considering a platform like Scitara DLX. Um, so let's go through. There was kind of five major areas that I want to cover that we talked about with them. Now, this particular customer was interesting because they did have some level of point-to-point integrations in place already. However, it was not fully integrated. So when you looked at their digitalization of their methods, they only had about 10 to 12% of them fully digitized. So there was a lot of room for improvement as far as getting their methods and their data workflows fully digitized. So number one, what they told us is that these point-to-point connections did not give them the full coverage they wanted. But more importantly, they told us that it was a nightmare to maintain them. Moreover, every site tended to have their own integration strategy. So they were doing things slightly different. So there was no way they could scale this globally across all their different sites in an efficient manner. And whenever they made changes to software versions for their instruments, this caused all kinds of problems. They had to rebuild those point-to-point integrations. So massive limitations from relying on that traditional approach. That was one of the major reasons that they went with Scitara DLX. The second major factor is that they really wanted to go with a platform approach. They saw the benefits of adopting the same strategy again across all their sites. And one of the reasons they adopted Scitara DLX is that they were extremely impressed by the fact that our connectors that we offer on the platform are all fully validated and give them the breadth of coverage that they need to completely integrate all their instruments and therefore to completely digitize all their methods. So that was a massive part of their thinking is they saw the benefits of adopting a platform strategy. The third thing that they really focused on is they wanted to start to get more value from their lab data. So in other words, they have all this lab data that's being generated, but they really weren't using it for anything besides releasing batches. And I should point out that this is a QC customer that we're talking about here. So what they wanted to do is centralize all their lab data into a repository so they could start to get insights and learn about the efficiency of their operations. Well, impossible to do with point-to-point, very easy to do with Scitara DLX. So as part of their adoption of DLX, they're using us to convert all their lab data into a common format, the allotrope simple model, or ASM format. And they're having us centralize all that lab data across all their sites into their main data repository, where they're going to start to do analytics on the data to gain critical insights. So that was another major factor for why they chose Scitara DLX. Automation. One of the things they want to move to in their QC operations is review by exception. So instead of reviewing all the data that's generated, only review the data that's been flagged as out of spec or something has gone wrong. And one of the things they made very clear about review by exception is that you can't have any manual data processes if you're going to do that. You have to fully automate all your data workflows. And that was enabled by DLX, again, because the complete coverage that we give them with the connectors, the automation capabilities, which are native to our platform, et cetera. Finally, we did talk to them a little bit about how they built the business case and how was their strategy of selling this internally. And it really came down to is they know they're going to gain tremendous efficiencies in their laboratories and they're going to gain tremendous efficiency in their IT operations by having this one global scalable approach that allows them to fully integrate their labs. They're going to gain extreme efficiency by fully digitalizing all their methods. And then eventually moving to review by exception is going to deliver value as well. And although they didn't quantify it, they know they're going to get value by having the centralized lab data that we talked about as well. So kind of 5 areas there that I wanted to cover that was essential to what they do. So hopefully this gives you some insights as you think about your lab transformation program and why you might want to consider Scitara DLX. So once again, this is 𝗵𝗵𝗴𝗵𝗵𝗶𝗄, CMO at Scitara. I always appreciate you listening to my videos and look for me to release another one in the next couple of months. Thank you and have a great day.